So, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the revision for the diploma in credit management. It's amazing how time goes so quickly, and now we're just on the eve of the exams. So, I suppose what we want to do today is just to ah, just go through the whole course from start to finish, and just make sure that there are no surprises for you. I suppose that is the main thing. And I suppose for a lot of you, like some, this is your second exam, and for others, it's your very first exam. So it is a frightening prospect, I suppose. And nobody likes doing exams. And no matter how long you were driving before your test, you still tend to go to bits when the test happens. So we all hate exams. And we're not great fans of them either, to be honest with you. The fact of the matter is, though, when you are getting a diploma in credit management, and I suppose the organizations that are issuing the diplomas have to make sure that you're up to a standard. And the only way that we can do it is with a combination of the short test, the assignments, and a written exam to prove that you do know the stuff and that you are worthy of your diploma. So that is that. So also, the class is half and half. So half of you, this is the end of your first term, and you'll be starting in February. For those of you that this is your second set of exams, so in other words, you'll be finished the diploma with the exams on the 27th of January. Just to let you know as well, now I did put it in the induction session, excuse me, about the revision, about the graduation. So just that I have you here today, those of you who are finishing your exams, you will be invited to a graduation ceremony that is in the very posh the Merrion Hotel in Dublin. I don't know whether you know it. It is really, really nice. So it's just an evening. It's the 20th of March. It's a Wednesday. So please put the date in your diary. I will be in touch between now and then about it. It's in the Merrion Hotel. I'll be writing to you. We have caps and gowns and professional photographers and, finger food and wine. And it'll just be a lovely evening. And it's great to get together and, I suppose, celebrate the achievements. So, when your heads are down studying for the exams and going through the exam, that's the prize at the other end that's waiting for you. So I just said I'd let you know about that now at this stage. So the 20th of March in the Merrion Hotel in Dublin. So to get between here and there, so most of you now have submitted all your short tests, have submitted your assignments, and are now getting ready for the exam. You have the mock exam for both subjects. And in terms of the mock exam, that is exactly how the real exam is going to look. Is that okay? So when you get the real exam, that is, so in terms of the layout, the questions, and all that kind of good stuff, that is exactly the same format. All right. So just to let you know what's going to happen on the 27th of January. And what is going to happen is the two exams are going to take place. The risk exam is first in the morning. So that is from 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock. You have the risk exam, then you have a break for an hour, and the credit management exam takes place from 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock. And then you're all done at that stage. Is that okay? So in terms of timing, now what I will be doing is I will send out the risk paper to you 10 minutes early, just to give you a chance to read the paper. Is that okay? So at 9:50 on the 27th, I will send you all an email, and I will have the exam paper as an attachment to the email. Now, the one thing I ask people to do is just to acknowledge it, because I'm just sending this out to a group of people. I don't know who's sitting at their desk and who isn't. So just get yourself set up and organized, first of all, wherever you're going to be. Certainly, I know we're talking about a gang of kids. If they're screaming and roaring going on in the background, it's hard to concentrate. So if you can find yourself a quiet corner where you can concentrate for a couple of hours, that would really be a bonus. The paper will arrive at 9:50, just reply and say thanks, got it, or just some sort of an acknowledgement, a thumbs up even, or whatever you have to do. So just that I know you got it. So when I'm looking down through the papers, it just helps me to relax as well, that nothing has gone missing and I know who's on board. Now some people, because they're when they get the paper, they get straight into the paper and they forget. You won't be penalized for forgetting, but it just helps me to relax if you acknowledge. So if you just acknowledge receipt of the paper, and then you are ready to go. Now, a few things in terms of the exam. So first of all, and we start with risk. With risk now, Angelina's going to go through the content of the risk subject with you, and from a revision perspective. Just in terms of risk, let me give you an overview. So, and you've seen from the mock exam that there are 8 questions on the exam. Question 1 and question 2 that I think, Angelina, you're going to go into detail to make sure everybody understands them today. Question 1 and question 2 have 50 marks. So the exam is marked out of 140 to make it easy for us. It is actually marked out as 70%. So that is that. So let's keep it simple. So you've got 10 marks for your short tests, you've got 20 marks for your assignments, and you get 70 marks for the exam. So that is how it works. Question 1 and question 2 each get 25 marks out of the 70. So 25 marks for question 1, 25 marks for question 2, and then 20 marks, 10 marks each for the other 2 questions. So just bear that in mind when planning your time. So you have 2 hours to complete the exam, and what I would recommend you do is spend 40 minutes on question 1 and set your alarm. So if you decide, and you can do, and I would do question 1 and question 2, if you get question 1 absolutely right, you have 25 out of 70, which is a pass already. All right. Now, the problem is, if, and we're not expecting anybody to aim for 100%. When your 40 minutes are up, stop. Even if you're mid-sentence, even if your balance sheet doesn't balance, it doesn't matter. Okay, you have got most of the numbers onto the page. You have got most of the marks you were going to get. Move on to question 2. Okay, so that's my big advice, is time management. I saw back in the old days when we had an exam hall where we had to bring people to sit with a script in front of them and write out the exam paper. Imagine that. One girl panicked and spent over an hour and a half trying to get the balance sheet to balance. And then obviously didn't do the other questions. And, so guys, just manage your time. You're here to get as many marks as you can. So 40 minutes for question 1, do it. At 40 minutes, stop, move on to question 2, do that the best you can for 40 minutes. And when that 40 minutes is up, you stop, and then you go on to the other questions. So you have to answer question 1 and question 2. So I would do those first. And that's 50 marks out of 70. And even if you get it half right, it's still, 30, it's still, it's almost enough to pass the exam on its own. So just focus on that. On the other questions then, I think that there are 6 other questions on the exam paper, and you only have to answer 2 of them. Is that okay? So, for example, if there are areas of the course that you don't like, or you just find it difficult, there's no need to worry about it, because you just don't do the question. Are you with me? So what I will do is I will actually give you the heads up, because I know, Angelina, I said I get information over to you yesterday and I didn't. So on that basis, so for your section, I want you to focus on question 1 and question 2, where the big marks are. And I am going to give you the heads up, guys, on the other 8 questions. All right, so do take notes. So of the other 8 questions, there is going to be a question on cash flow. All right, so cash flow. So you'll be given a criteria and to prepare a cash flow statement. Yes? There will be a question on bad debt provisioning that looks exactly like the second part of the first assignment. Do you remember that, where you had to calculate your specific and general? Yeah. So that is there as well, bad debt provisioning. And again, I suppose to a large extent, bad debt provisioning is an inexact science. So as long as you explain your criteria for what you're doing, that should go a long way as well. So if you want to accept the figures in the notes, that's fine. If you want to change it, and that's fine too. So that is that. There will also be one of the 8 questions on ratio scoring. You know, where you score 1, 2, 3, highest, lowest, and all that sort of stuff. Now, because I see there's Juliana, that's her.
I let her in there, Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what. Yes, because we know you only have 20 minutes to do that. You know, you're not going to have to do 1,000 sums. So the sums will actually be done for you, and you just score them 1, 2, 3. Is that okay? Or 0, 1, 2, or whatever way you want to do it. All right. So there is a ratio scoring system. And then there is another question in the exam on ratio comparisons. So where we have 3 sets of data and we work out which is the best company and which is the worst company, which to me is the interesting part and the practical application of this course, to be able to put 3 companies side by side and work out the ratios and say who's the best, who's the worst, who's the, you know, who's the most solvent, who's the most profitable, who's the most likely to pay me. So that is a question. There will also be the dreaded FIFO and LIFO. It was in the course, so we left it in, and there is a question in the exam on it. So that is that. And then finally, question 8, which is the multiple choice questions, and you've seen that in the mock paper as well. I would avoid that completely, to be honest with you. Or I shouldn't tell you this, and I will. If you get to the last 2 minutes and you're running out of time, just pick a number on question 8. You know, it's complicated, it's tricky, and you know, of all the questions, that's the one I would find most difficult to do. If you want to have a go at it, or maybe should I tell you to guess? It might be the 2 marks that you get. And you say, well, Declan, you know, we have to do question 1 and 2 and 2 other questions. If you have time to do a 3rd question, we will mark all 3 and give you the highest 2 marks. Is that okay? Now, you're better off doing 2 questions right than 3 questions rushed. And to be honest with you, it's the same in credit management as well. So if you have to answer X number of questions, if you answer an extra one, we will correct all of them and take the highest mark. So we want to get you through this, and we want to give you marks. You have to earn them, and that's the whole point about it. Is that okay? So just make sure that you read the instructions, that you know what's happening. Then you read the questions, because that's very important. And then put your time management hat on. So from 10 to 10:40, question 1. Or if you find question 2 easier, do question 2 first. You know, you don't have to do them in the order that they present. So if you think, no, doing the ratios is that I find that easier, then start with that one. Start with the easy one, and then you'll get into it. You know, it'll just build your confidence. So if you start with the most difficult and you get stuck, then your brain can go. And I know it's all very well for me to sit here and say relax. You know, the more relaxed you can be, the better it is. So this is your opportunity to show off how much you've learned over the last few months. So just get as much information on the page as you can. And in terms of how you present the information, so if you want to save the exam paper and answer the questions on the spreadsheet you're given, that's fine. You know, or if you want to create a new spreadsheet, that's fine. If you want to put it into a Word document, don't know if I'd recommend that for risk. If you want, if that's what you find easiest. So as long as you get the information to us where we can correct it. And the other thing that I would encourage you for risk as well is that if you are using the spreadsheet, now it's not an Excel exam, so we're not going to be checking the validity of your formulas. If you want to use the formulas in Excel, yeah, by all means use it. And then we can see how you got to that number, which might be the difference between a half a mark, which might make all the difference in the end. Is that okay? So if we see, you know, if we ask you a sum and the answer is 5 and you put down 7, then obviously that answer is wrong. If we see you got the 5 by adding this and you forgot to carry the 1 or something of that nature, okay, you understood what was going on, you got it wrong, we might give you half a mark for that. So if we can see the method, there is an opportunity. So the more, in terms of showing your workings, show your workings, how you got to it, and then we can go through it and see, does that make sense? Does this person understand what's going on? And if you do, that's really what we're aiming for. So so that is that. So for credit management, and then at 12 o'clock, and please, 12 o'clock is the deadline, so you must return your completed paper by 12 o'clock. And again, if you can send it back in Excel format, some people, send me links to Google Docs and all that kind of stuff. And while, it's just hassle. So if you could send us a document with your exam in it. And also, I shouldn't have to remind you, I will, in terms of saving your work. Make sure that if you are working on a spreadsheet, that you do save it. The last thing you want is a panic with 2 minutes to go and the power goes down and you've lost all your work. So make sure that you do save your work on a regular basis. And then on or before 12 o'clock. So if you're finished at 10 to and you're happy everything is done, then just send the information through to me. And so just make sure that I get it on or before 12 noon. So that is risk. Then go off, have a nice cup of tea, which solves all problems, and take a break for an hour. And then when it comes to credit management, then at 1 o'clock, the same rule will apply. So at 10 to 1, I will send you the first part of the credit management paper. And the first part of the credit management paper is your multiple choice questions. So there will be 50 questions and you have to answer all of them. Is that okay? And again, what I would do is, if I were you, I would, and you have 1 hour to complete that. So you will get the paper at 10 to 1. The exam starts at 1 o'clock. So you have to return that by 2 o'clock. All right. Now, look, I know credit management is an open book exam, and I know you have the notes in front of you. I also know that if you are going to rely on the notes, you are going to stress yourself out to a frenzy. Okay, because with 50 questions in 60 minutes, you only have 1 minute per question. And before you can flick through your notes and find the relevant place and enter it up, it's going to crack you up. So what I would advise you to do is just go down through the 50 questions, and hopefully you'll know more than half of them. So do the easy ones. Do the easy ones and just go down through it. And whether you highlight it or bold it, as long as we're clear, we know which one of the 4 that you've chosen. That's all we ask you to do. Maybe highlighting is clearer for everybody. So you just highlight the answers on the multiple choice, and then if you time at the end and you want to go back and check stuff, yeah, by all means. Again, it has to be in by 2 o'clock. All right, that is grand. Now, your prize for getting your multiple choice questions in early. Why would you get your multiple choice questions in early? I'll tell you why. Because I will be sitting at the desk, and just to be clear, I'm organizing, or I'm coordinating the exams. So the emails will come from me and you reply to me. Okay. Now I'll forward them on to the tutors afterwards. I'm the one that puts all the exam stuff together. So it will be me. So if you are finished your multiple choice questions, say you're finished at 1:45, all right, and you send me the answers to the multiple choice questions for credit management, the minute I get your answer sheet for the multiple choice questions, I will then send you the long questions. Is that okay? So if you're finished 15 minutes early, that will give you an extra 15 minutes to do the long questions. All right. So there's no benefit for hanging on to them or whatever. So, do the questions, get them into us, and then as soon as I receive the email, I will reply to your email and I'll attach the part 2 of the exam with it and get you going. And in credit management, now Paul will go through this, he'll be joining us later. In terms of the credit management, remind me, I haven't got it in front of me now. I think there are, is it 8 questions to answer? Here. I should have done my own homework first, shouldn't I?
It is 50 questions up front, were all multiple choice, and then 4 questions afterwards for credit management.
Credit management. So there's how many questions, Beverly?
50 questions, sorry, that are multiple choice, and then 4 questions afterwards.
4 questions afterwards. Okay, so that's grand. So the 4 questions are, and I think you have to answer 2, is it? Yeah. Yeah. So you have half an hour each. And what you will find is, and Paul will go through it with you, the 4 questions tend to be one from each of the sections. So again, and Paul will give you the heads up in terms of what's going to be on the exam there. Is that okay? So, and again, time management comes into play here. You have half an hour for each question. So, and read the 4 questions, decide which one you think is easiest that you will give your best shot to, and then start with that one. All right. The one thing that I would absolutely warn you about in terms of the particularly credit management, is to read the question. Read the question and give the examiner what they're looking for. One of the saddest moments of my life, which happened a good few years ago now, where there was a question in credit management, I'll never forget it. And the question I thought was very fair. It was, what are the benefits of a credit policy? And this student, who was so brilliant and knew everything, wrote the most fantastic paper on credit policies and what credit policies are and what credit policies do and what credit policies should entail. And they just saw the word credit policy and wrote the most fantastic piece about credit policies. And nowhere in the answer was there one benefit. And the question was, give us a benefit of having a credit policy. And I remember even at the time reading it going, please give me a benefit, because if you give me a benefit, I can give you a mark. And there was, and the reason it's so memorable in my head, that there was no benefits. And I read the paper, and it was somebody who knew the topic so well. They just saw the word credit policy and they just wrote about credit policy. So that's just kind of a word of warning. So, read the question, what is being looked for. So if it is the benefits, list the benefits. Yeah. So stick to the point of the question, because that's what we'll be marking and that's what we'll be looking at. And as I say, you will get your long questions for credit management the minute you send back your multiple choice questions, and then you return that then by 3 o'clock, and I will acknowledge every paper. So in terms of when you send it back, I will acknowledge receipt of the paper. So that's that will happen as a matter of course. So that's my section that I hope you know what to expect on the 27th. Be specific in terms of in credit management, well, the multiple choice is multiple choice, that's fine. On the 4 questions, and as far as I remember as well, you get, I think you get 40% of the marks for the multiple choice and then 30 marks each for the 2 long questions. So, you know, just work on it. You know, structure it out, manage your time, and then submit it, and then forget about it. You know, once the paper's submitted, there's nothing we can do. We'll turn it around certainly within, you know, it usually takes a couple of weeks from start to finish. By the time we, you know, get all the papers, the examiners go through them, or the tutors, and mark them, and then they go to an examination panel for approval and perusal, you know, to make sure that they're happy with the standards that we've maintained, etc., etc. So it usually takes about 2 weeks from the exam to you getting your results. So that's kind of what rather than sitting there panicking, and we're not going to leave you waiting for ages. So I would say certainly by the middle of February, you will have, and the minute we have them, we get them over to you, and we get you same. It's just going to be a results letter by email that will tell you whether you got a pass, a merit, or a distinction. So anything over 80% is a distinction, and very good. You know, I think a lot of you, particularly for risk, it's all just about you know, getting through it, and so you don't have to be 100%. So just know that. So that's all I have to say in relation to an introduction. I'll stop recording now and see if you have any questions for me, and then we can hand you over to Angelina to go through the risk.